from Fort Belvoir, Virginia. It's Situational Awareness starring Carnac the Magnificent.
Are we there yet? What does done look like? How much money does our time cost?
Now here's Patrick!
Can we see ourselves through the eyes of our stakeholders?
Okay, anyone doesn't want to vote?
Guy with me.
Okay, then just remember that this has to be 12-0 either way. That's the law. Okay, are we ready? All those voting guilty, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's 11 guilty. All those voting not guilty? 1. Right. 11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Well, now we know where we are.
Boy, oh boy, there's always one.
Oh, what are we doing now?
I guess we talk.
Boy, oh boy.
You really think he's innocent?
I don't know.
I mean, you sat in court with the rest of us. You heard what we did. The kid's a dangerous killer. You could see it.
He's 18 years old.
Well, that's old enough. He stabbed his own father 4 inches into the chest. They proved it a dozen different ways in court. Would you like me to list them for you?
No.
Then what do you want?
I just want to talk.
Well, what's there to talk about? 11 men in here think he's guilty. No one had to think about it twice except you.
I want to ask you something. Do you believe his story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So how come you vote not guilty?
Well, there were 11 votes for guilty. It's not easy to raise my hand and send a boy off to die without talking about it first.
Well, now, who says it's easy?
No one.
What, just because I voted fast? I honestly think the guy's guilty. Couldn't change my mind if you talked for 100 years.
I'm not trying to change your mind. It's just that we're talking about somebody's life here. We can't decide it in 5 minutes, supposing we're wrong.
Supposing we're wrong. Yeah. Supposing this whole building should fall down on my head. You can suppose anything.
That's right.
Look, what's the difference how long it takes? Suppose we do it in 5 minutes, so what?
Let's take an hour. Ball game doesn't start till 8 o'clock. Who's got something to say?
I'm willing to sit for an hour.
Great. I heard a pretty good story last night.
That's not why we're sitting here.
All right, then you tell me. What are we sitting here for?
I don't know, maybe no reason. Look, this kid's been kicked around all of his life. You know, born in a slum, mother dead since he was 9. He lived for a year and a half in an orphanage when his father was serving a jail term for forgery. It's not a very happy beginning. He's a wild, angry kid, that's all he's ever been. And you know why? Because he's been hit on the head by somebody once a day, every day. He's had a pretty miserable 18 years. I just think we owe him a few words, that's all.
I don't mind telling you this, mister. We don't owe him a thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? What do you think that trial cost? He's lucky he got it. Know what I mean?
No.
Now, look, we're all grown-ups in here. We heard the facts, didn't we? You're not going to tell me that we're supposed to believe this kid knowing what he is? Listen, I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say. You know that. I mean, they're born liars.
Only an ignorant man can believe that.
Now, listen.
Do you think you were born with a monopoly on the truth? I think certain things should be pointed out to this man.
Come on, this isn't Sunday. We don't need a sermon.
Come on, we have a job to do now. Let's do it.
Have you ever heard the expression, perception is reality? Well, if you think everyone else sees the world the same way you do, you're in for a big shocker, because they don't. Take a look through acquisition history, Department of Defense, anywhere else in federal government. Programs, projects, endeavors. All that can fail if you don't pay attention to stakeholders. Doesn't mean you must do everything they ask for or meet their every need. Of course, you do that, you'll never get anywhere because you get pulled in many directions at once. But you absolutely will benefit by seeing the world through their eyes. And above all, providing a mechanism so the rest of your team can learn their perspective at the same time and what you're doing about it. Here's some things to think about, and in later videos, we'll hit some of these in detail. First of all, think about proximity. There's you. And then perhaps if we're doing a program management environment, there's your project, and there's your program, and then there's external, perhaps external in your organization and external from without. It's proximity. Why don't you take those individual stakeholders and see where they fit? Something else called a power grid, right? Compare how important this program, this project is to your stakeholder with the influence they have on your program. Importance versus influence, called a power grid. You do that for every stakeholder. Compare involvement. In other words, commitment versus engagement. The degree of commitment they have to your cause, your effort, versus the actual engagement they display, their actual behavior. Think in terms of intentions. What is this stakeholder going to do in terms of engaging with our project, communications and actions? What about expectations? What does your stakeholder expect at or before your key decision points? Or requirements? What does this stakeholder want or need from you or your team and your results when all is said and done? There's an old writer, well actually he's pretty old because he's dead, his name's Sun Tzu, right? And he said, know the enemy as you know yourself and you need not fear the result of 1,000 battles. Well, a stakeholder is not your enemy, but it does pay to see their work and your work through their eyes and make sure your program team knows it too.